This is MJ, and in today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make a granny square sunflower blanket. So in this tutorial I'll be showing you how to make our sunflower granny square. I'll be showing you how to do the join as you go technique to join all of our squares together, and then we'll be finishing the blanket with a border. The yarn that I'm using is Bernat Super Value, and the colors that I've chosen: Natural, Curry, and Taupe. This yarn is available on marymaxim.com and .ca, and I will have the link in the description box for purchasing the yarn. You'll need two hook sizes for this pattern, a 5mm and a 4.5mm crochet hook, and these are hooks from Furls Crochet, and I'll have the link in the description box below for the hooks. We're going to begin with our taupe for the center of our sunflower, working our sunflower petals, and then we move into the granny stitch, which is just a traditional granny stitch pattern to finish it off. We'll be working with the 5mm crochet hook for our squares, so we'll be beginning with that 5mm crochet hook. Okay, so let's begin with a magic ring. I'm going to wrap the yarn around our index finger 3 times. I'm going to take the hook, sliding it through all 3 loops on my finger. Take your first loop, pull it through, and I'm going to chain 2. Now I'm going to work 12 half double crochets in the ring. Okay, so once you get your 12 stitches, we're going to pull the ring tight. So I'm pushing my work out of the way so I can see our loops. Start to pull the loops together. You're going to see only one loop pull in. So this is loop I'm going to take and give it a tug. It's going to pull the other loop tight, and then just take your tail and pull. So now we have a nice tight circle. I'm going to reverse slip stitch to join. So I'm going to hold my work to the front. I'm going to go back to front under the stitch. I'm just going to yarn under, pulling the yarn through, twist your hook and pull. Chain 1, and of course you can do a regular slip stitch if you find that a little tricky. Now I'm going to work 2 single crochet into every stitch around. So we're increasing from 12 to 24 stitches on this round. We'll now slip stitch to join, and we can fasten off. Okay, and now we're going to bring in our yellow. So I'm going to join right in that first stitch, pull my yarn through, and I'm going to chain out 4. So now for our first petal, we're going to yarn over twice. We're going to go down through the same stitch. We're going to pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So I now have 2 loops on the hook. I'm going to yarn over twice for my next treble. I'm going to go through the stitch, pulling up a loop. I'm going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So I have 2 loops on the hook. So this is the important thing to remember, that you want to pull through enough times that you have 2 on the loop. So the first time we only went through 2 times. Now on the next stitch, we've gone through 3 times so that we have 2 loops on the hook. So we'll yarn over twice again. Go through, pulling up the loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So now we have 2 loops on the hook again, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 trebles. We're going to yarn over, pull through 2, and then I'm going to chain 3. So I'm basically doing 4 trebles together, and our chain at the beginning counts as 1, and then we've done 3 additional so that we have 4. So this is one of our petals. Now what we're going to do is we're going to skip a stitch. We want to have 12 petals in total. So we're going to skip the next stitch, and then we're going to do 4 trebles together in the next stitch. So I'm going to yarn over twice. I'm going to go through the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So I've only done it 2 times. I have 2 loops remaining on the hook. I'm going to yarn over twice. Going to go through the same stitch, pulling up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, so that I have 2 loops on my hook. So now I have 2 trebles, yarn over twice, pull through 2, 3 times, 2 loops on my hook, yarn over twice, and the same thing. Pulling through 2, 3 times. I now have 2 loops only on my hook. I'm going to yarn over, pull through 2, and chain 3. Going to skip the next stitch, and in the next stitch, I'm going to repeat this same step that we did for this petal. So yarn over twice, go through, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We have 2 loops on the hook, so we can go and yarn over twice and start our next one. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. Yarn over twice, going through the same stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, 2 loops on the hook. And as soon as you have 4, we're good. We can yarn over, pulling through the last 2 loops. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's do it one more time together. So we're going to yarn over twice, skip the next stitch, going through the next, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over twice, go through the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over twice, once we have our 4, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and chain 3. Okay, you're going to complete this all the way around. You're going to have 12 petals in total. Okay, so once you get around, don't worry that it seems like it's kind of squishy. Blocking is going to help to make everything look really nice. So now what we're going to do is slip stitch into the starting chain 4 to join. Okay, and we can fasten off. Now you can join into any chain 3 space at this point for the next step. So I'm going to put a slip knot on my hook. And I'm going to chain 3, which is going to count as a double crochet. I'm going to work 2 double crochets, chain 2, and I'm going to do 3 double crochets. And this is going to make our corner for our granny square. Going to chain 2, and then I'm going to do 2 half double crochets, or sorry, 3 half double crochets in the next chain 3 space. Chain 2, 3 half double crochets in the next chain 3 space. Chain 2, and then I need to do another corner. So I'm going to work 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets, chain 2, three half double crochets, chain 2, chain 2, and then do another corner. So you get the idea. We're doing 2 half double crochet clusters between the corners, and the corners are double crochets. So we're trying to square out our circle. Okay, so once you get all the way around, we're going to chain 2. So I'm ending with my half double crochet clusters, and I'm going to slip stitch into that first double crochet to join. I'm going to slip stitch again over to the next double crochet, slip stitch over to the chain 2 space to start my next round. Now we're going to have some tails to weave in, obviously. Now I do have a little trick that can save a little time. If you want to do any knotting, you can knot your different colors together. Sometimes you can just, when you're crocheting over those tails, leave that you have a stitch between them. So I'm just going to weave this one back. And if you want to do knots so that you don't have as many tails, you can just then take these 2 tails together, knot them, but make sure you do triple. It's nice and secure. Or you can just weave them through. That's just a little trick. This one we've already gone over it in one direction, so it only needs to go back a little bit in the opposite just to make sure that it is secure, it doesn't come loose. Just like that. And this one, we want to weave it over here. And if you want to take care of these as you go like this, so you don't have them all at the end, or just worry about it all at the end, it's really up to you. Just make sure if you're knotting, you do a really nice, secure knot. And then that can save you a little bit of time. So now let's continue with our next round. I'm going to chain 3. This counts as my first double crochet. I'm going to work 2 double crochet, chain 2, and 3 double crochet because we're working into our corner. Now I'm going to chain 2, and this round I'll be working doubles all the way, so no more half doubles. So 3 doubles, chain 2, 3 doubles, chain 2, 3 doubles, because we should have one more cluster between our corners. We had 2 clusters on the last round, so this round is now 3 clusters before we get to a corner. Chain 2, so just remember that we're chaining 2 between each of our clusters, chaining 2 for our corner for this pattern. So now at the corner, we're working 3 doubles, chain 2, and 3 doubles. So now we're going to repeat across. We're going to do our double crochet clusters. We're going to work across 3, work another corner, work across our next 3 doubles, corner, 3 doubles, and then I'm going to meet you up at the end for joining. And if you're doing the join as you go technique that I'm going to show you, you only need 2 rounds. If you have a preferred seaming method in mind that you would rather seam them, then you would do 3 rounds of your granny stitch pattern, and then seam the squares together however you want. But with the join as you go, we're getting an additional round as we work. So we only need to do 2 rounds before we do our blocking. And once you've worked all the way around, we're going to slip stitch over to the corner again. So we're going through the first double crochet, and I'm going to now fasten off, and you'll need to weave that tail in. So what you want is that your square measures about 6 inches. So if yours is a little bit different, it's just going to affect the overall size of the blanket. If you want to stay on track with my sizing, make sure that your squares are 6 inches. So what we did is blocked our squares. You can use the pegboards, and I will link them in the pattern, or you could use the blocking mats that have the lines, which is really helpful when you're squaring out your squares. So you want them to block out to a nice 6-inch size. So 6 by 6 for the same measurements as my pattern. So now you can spray your squares and pin them to measurements, or you can soak them in a little bit of wool wash, pull them out, put them on your mats or on your pegboard, really whatever your preferred method to block. The idea is that we just get our nice, clean, squared edges before we start into the next step. Now, if you wanted to go ahead and block the blanket afterwards, you could do that too, but because it will be a fair size blanket, you would need to have a lot of space and mats in order to do that. So now what I'm going to do is show you the join as you go technique for joining all of your squares together. This is a really nifty way to do this. It's going to eliminate all the seaming and lots of extra ends to weave. So this is a great way if you want to join up your squares quickly. So we're going to begin down in our right corner, and we're going to start out by crocheting 3 sides to this square. So if we take a look at this square here, we're going to crochet in this manner, but this corner and this corner is only going to have half of the corner. So it's not going to be a full corner like this. We're just going to be doing our 3 doubles and then going around. So I'm going to start out showing you that. We're going to be working across our bottom row first. So I'm just going to be showing you 3 squares, but you'll be adding all of your squares for your blanket as you work. So let's begin with a slip knot on our hook using the 5mm. And we're going to join into the corner. I'm going to chain 3 as my first double crochet. Then I'm going to work 2 double crochets. So I'm just working half of my corner. I'm going to chain 2, work 3 double crochet in the next chain 2 space, and then I'm going to work 2 chains and work across in this manner up to the corner. So at our corner, we're going to be working 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 double crochets. So we're working the granny stitch pattern as normal for these 3 sides, except for the starting corner and the ending corner, we're just working the 3 doubles. So I'm going to continue working across, work a complete corner, work down, and I'm going to meet you back up down here at this corner. So I'm coming to my last corner. I'm going to add my 3 double crochets. Okay, so it looks like this now. We're going to have our raw edge along the entire bottom of the blanket. So keep that in mind. We're going to refer to the edges that have not been yet worked as raw edges. This is going to be our finished edge along this side of our blanket. So our right side is all going to end up with a finished edge. The bottom edge will be a raw edge. And as we work to the left side, the final left side will also be a raw edge. So we have this 3 sides finished. Now what we want to do is bring in our next square to work across. So we're going to chain 2 as normal, as if we were going to complete this corner, but instead of completing this corner, we're going to come over and work this corner. So I'm going to yarn over, just going to grab my square, I'm going to work 3 doubles. 1, 2, 3. So now this corner, half of this corner is complete. This edge remains unworked, and we're going to slip stitch these squares together as we go. So what we're going to do, I'm not going to chain or anything, I'm just going to come over to my chain 2 space and I'm going to slip stitch to join. I'm going to yarn over, go into my next chain 2 space. on my second square and work 3 doubles. I'm going to come over to the next chain 2 space, going to slip stitch, and then continue up the side. So 3 doubles to work this edge, and then slip stitch over on the finished square. Three doubles. Just come right over. I'm going over top and in, and then I'm just twisting the yarn around my hook and pulling it through. And I find that's a nice quick way to do it. And it's amazing how quick you can work this once you get the rhythm. So now as we come up to the corner, I'm going to give you 2 options. If you want to make your corners extra secure, you could slip stitch. You could do this, slip stitch it together and continue working your corner. So you could slip stitch, chain 2, and continue around your corner. But as we work our rows, we will be working through all these corners. So you don't have to do that. Now, as we were working the blanket, we felt like maybe we did want the corners more secure, and I think that would be an option to do that, is just to slip stitch here if we want those corners to really tug in maybe a little tighter. But I'm going to continue with how we've made the blanket and show you this method. So we're going to chain 2. We're not going to join these corners. We're just going to continue working our granny stitch pattern now. So we're going to come, we'll chain 2, we're going to continue across, complete our corner, come all the way down, and basically a repeat of what we've just done. Okay, and you're going to just keep repeating that for each square as you go. But I'll work through the next square with you, so I'm just going to work across though and get down to this corner. Okay, so I've worked my 3 double crochets down in this corner. Remember to chain 2 and then bring across your next square. This is going to be a repeat of what I showed you over on the other square. So we're just going right into double crocheting 3 in the corner. Okay, so that matches up with that first cluster down here. We then slip stitch. I go just down, wrap the yarn and pull it through, and I find that works really quickly. And then work 3 doubles on this side. Slip stitch, 3 doubles, joining the squares all the way across. So just as the name suggests, we're joining as we go, working this final round of the squares. And now we don't have to do any seaming of squares together. And when you get up to the corner, you can join them if you prefer, or leave them loose. And we'll make sure that we obviously get them joined up on the next row. So I'm going to continue around the corner, working my corner as normal, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 doubles. And then I'm going to work across, but I'm going to finish at this corner. Now you want to keep working down to the end as many squares as you're adding, but if this is the last square of your blanket, we're going to stop up here in this corner with only 3 double crochet. Okay, I've done my 3 doubles, and now what we're going to focus on is our next row. So we're bringing in another row of squares like this, but I find it just easier if I turn all of my work at this point. I'm going to move those ones out of the way. I'm going to turn all my work like this. And now we're basically doing the same thing, except we're only going to go across the rows like this. We're just joining the bottom row of the second row with the top row of the first row. So let's focus on one square at a time. Chain 2, just like as if we're joining down here, we're chaining 2, and we're going right into those 3 doubles in the corner. They match up like this, with the clusters match up together, and then we slip stitch the same way I've been showing you and join along here as we go. This pass is really quick because we're only joining one side and working one side as we work across. So we can buzz across this first square really quick. And then I'll show you how we're going to treat the corner. So I'm getting to this corner, I'm working my 3 doubles into it. Now I'm not going to chain 2, I'm only going to chain 1 because I don't want these corners really loose. So if this is already joined, we're still going to go over to the diagonal corner, okay? But if these are already joined, if you chose to join them, just making that join a little more secure, that's all. But if not, we're just going over to the diagonal. I'm going to go from the top, just as I've been doing with the sides, and slip stitching it. But now I'm also going to chain 1 again. Okay, but I'm not doing chain 2s, I'm just doing chain 1s at these corners. And then I'm going to come into my next square by just continuing right with the 3 doubles. So work 3 doubles. Okay, and then just continue joining across. And when you get to the next corner, do the exact same thing. But I'll work across and meet you up. So I've worked 3 doubles. I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to the diagonal corner, so leave this one. We're coming over and slip stitching, and then I'm going to chain 1 and continue across. So I'm going to join this square. I'm going to meet you up at the corner. I'm coming to the corner. I'm going to chain 1, and now remember, just keep going as many squares as you have. Chain 1, and I'm going to now work my 3 double crochet. So now this entire corner is complete, and I need to work the next row, which is going to be similar to our first row. We're going to be working 3 sides. So we're going to be coming around, coming back down here, and then joining. So as we're crocheting this side, we're joining here and continuing on down like the first row. So working, but then when we get down to the corner, we're joining and working this side, joining to this side. So I'm going to start out by just working down here because this is all just repetitive. We're just working the granny squares normal, but I'll show you what happens when we get down to this corner. Okay, so I've worked all around this square and I'm coming down to my corner and I want to join it up. So we're going to chain 1 and you can see these corners are joined. We need to join now the diagonal this way. So I'm going to go under both of the chains. So this chain 1 as well as the chain 2 of this corner, and I'm going to slip stitch and chain 1. So just like we did the other way, we're just chaining 1 at these inner corners. Then I'm going to start right into working my 3 doubles to finish off this corner and then slip stitching it to our finished side of this square. And continue working up the side. And this is how each of the squares are going to be worked across the blanket. Just gonna quickly work up to the corner so I can explain what's gonna happen up here. So when you're working on your blanket, you're gonna have several rows before you get to the top, but I'm not going to show the entire blanket. We're just gonna show these 6 squares. So if you're finishing up the top of your blanket, we definitely wanna be joining these squares so we have our finished edge. If you're continuing still with your blanket, you don't have to join these up, but I'm going to show you here now how to join them. So we can chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1, and then continue. And this is how you'll work the top of your blanket. Okay, because this will be your finished edge before the border. And then just continue working this the same now. Okay, you're going to work all the way down. You're going to complete this corner the same way I showed you over here. So if you need to go back and re-watch, you can do that. Finish this, come all the way up, and then we're going to meet up here at this corner. Okay, so we've worked all the way over and we can see now that we have the finished edge to our right, the finished edge to the top, but then we have the raw edges across our left side and all across the bottom. So now it's really simple. You're just going to finish the edges. We're going to finish off the corner by chaining 2, working 3 doubles. Chain 2. I'm going to work across and I'll meet you here at the join. So I've worked 3 doubles. I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to slip stitch, chain 1, and then work 3 doubles. So this is how you're going to handle those joined sections. Okay, we're just going to chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1, work down, complete the corner as normal with the chain 2, work all the way across the bottom, and whenever you get to these joins, work your 3 doubles, chain 1, slip stitch in that little loopy bit, chain 1, 3 doubles, and continue across. So really simple to finish off this edge. So I'm going to keep working. I'm going to complete this, and then I'm going to show you how to do the border. Okay, so as we work around, we're coming to our very last corner that we started in. We want to finish with 3 doubles, chain 2, and we're going to slip stitch in that starting chain to join. So when you start your border, you're going to want to change over to your smaller hook. I'm going to chain 2. This is going to count as my first half double crochet. And I'm going to be working, you'll be working around the entire blanket. And what we're going to do is start working half double crochets. I'm going to work 1 half double crochet for every stitch and 1 in every chain 2 space. Okay, so when you're going across the cluster, you have 3 and then 1 in our chain 2. So I'm going to work this here to our corner or our join, and then I'll meet you there. So I have gone ahead and done a half double in the chain 1. Then I'm going to do a half double in this chain 1. And then keep going. Okay, so we're not going to be trying to put anything in the slip stitch, just work into the chain 1s in this corner spot. And keep going, and I'll meet you up at the corner. So at the corner, what we're going to do is 2 half double crochets, chain 2, 2 half double crochets, and then continue working around. So now what I'm going to do to make things go a little bit quicker to show you, I'm going to work it just on 1 square. So I'm not going to keep going around. If you find that this is looking too loose compared to your squares, you could always drop down a hook size if you need to, just to tighten up those stitches along there. But if you're finding it's looking nice and smooth, you should be fine going with the same hook, but just check your tension and drop down a hook size if you need to. Okay, so I'm coming up to my corner. I'm going to work my last corner. So 2 half doubles, chain 2, 2 half doubles, can slip stitch in that starting chain 2, chain 2 counts again as our first half double, and then we're going to work another round, and we're going to work this just like the first round, but now we just have the stitches easily to work into, and you can do as many rounds of half double crochet as you want for as thick a border as you want. So I'm going to work that across in each stitch to the corner. Okay, so once you've worked all the way across at the corner, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do 2 half doubles, chain 2, and 2 half doubles in that chain 2 space, and continue working across. Okay, so you're going to work this all the way around. And just showing it on the one square is just going to make this go a little bit quicker for us, but you'll of course be working this around the entire blanket. And as you come to the corner, just make sure you don't miss that last stitch. You can always look and see, this is our chain 2 right here, and in that corner we'll do our 2 half doubles, chain 2, 2 half doubles, and this is going to keep your corner nice and sharp as you're working around your blanket. So now once we get to the corner, 2 half doubles, chain 2, 2 half doubles, and then we should have 2 stitches to work into. And then we have our chain, which we can slip stitch to join. And now, if you want to do more rounds, you can. What I'm going to do now is show you a nice little fun border. And we're going to make a nice picot edge. Now this is optional. You could continue with half double crochets, but if you want to add this, then follow these steps. So you're going to single crochet, chain 3, single crochet in the same stitch. We're going to skip a stitch, single crochet, chain 3, single crochet in the same stitch. Skip the next stitch, single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, and continue this. And in your corner, you can do the same thing. Just single crochet, chain 3, single crochet in the corner, skip a stitch, and just continue. And once you get all the way around, you're just going to want to slip stitch into the starting single crochet to join. Okay, and then you can fasten off, weave in your tails. You may want to finish it off with a little blocking if you're finding that it's pulling. A block will just help to, again, straighten out your corners and flatten it out. You can see how pretty this looks, just adding this nice little simple edging to the side. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and tap the bell to stay updated on all my new videos and tutorials. Make sure to check the description box below this video for all the links. Thanks so much, guys. Have an awesome day.